Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the May 1st, 2018 of the Downers Grove Village Council. Spring has finally sprung. We're so happy. It is my privilege to call this meeting to order. If you haven't already done so, there are copies of our agenda on either side of the room. Feel free to pick one up and you can follow along with tonight's proceedings. There will be multiple opportunities for public comment, both with respect to things that are on our agenda tonight, as well as a segment under item 4 that is designated for public comments of a general nature with respect to things not on our agenda. Anyone wishing to speak at that point in time, we would invite to come down to the podium. Please tell us who you are, and we would welcome hearing from you. But first, it is our proud custom to begin our meetings by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everyone would please rise and join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Outstanding. And now I'd like to ask our fine village clerk, April Holden, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Here.
Commissioner Earl?
Here.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Commissioner Jose?
Here.
Commissioner Burnett?
Here.
Mayor Tully?
Here. Thank you very much. And let's see, we'll go to item 3 real quick, which pertains to the minutes of past council meetings. We have one set of minutes to review and approve tonight. Those are our regular council meeting minutes from our regular council meeting on April 17th, 2018. If there are no changes, comments, questions, or corrections, I will ask for a motion to approve. Please.
Mayor Tully, I move the council approve the meeting minutes from April 17th, 2018 as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Those minutes have been approved. And now I'd like to pause and read an important proclamation. It seems as though every month, everything now has its own month. I think we heard about National Donut Month and Hamburger Month and a few other things, but in Downers Grove, we firmly believe in preserving the balance between tradition and progress. I would like to read a proclamation in support of Historic Preservation Month and present it to a very special guest. So, without further ado, whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing and sustaining neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining a sense of place while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a community. And whereas This Place Matters is the theme for Historic Preservation Month 2018. And whereas This Place Matters is a national campaign that encourages people to celebrate the places that are meaningful to them and to their communities. And whereas Historic Preservation Month 2018 is an occasion for celebrating the historic resources within the community and increasing public awareness of the importance of historic preservation so that special resources can be preserved to pass on to future generations. Now, therefore, I, Martin T. Tully, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim May 2018 as Historic Preservation Month in the Village of Downers Grove. And before asking the president of the Downers Grove Historical Society, Ms. Liz Chalberg, to come up and accept us on behalf of all residents who are very passionate about historic preservation, I would want to note that declaring 1 month in Downers Grove as Historic Preservation Month, I think is a sad misnomer, because in Downers Grove, every day is Historic Preservation Day. So with that, I'm going to present this to Ms. Chalberg, and then I think you're going to tell us a little bit about Founders Day, as long as we're talking historic preservation. Very appropriate that Founders Day festivities would fall within Historic Preservation Month. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thanks for everything that the Historical Society does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I couldn't have said this better. This proclamation kind of says it all, and I appreciate that as a great segue to talk a little bit about the upcoming weekend and all the events that are still forthcoming. We've already had 4 of our events, and we have another 6 coming up this weekend. So we hope the entire community will participate and come out and go to one or go to all. We still have coming up the self-guided 10K and 5K walks through Downers Grove. They'll be going past historic sites. the Downers Grove Family Bike Ride that's sponsored by the Downers Grove Bicycle Club, and that's a somewhere between a 5 and a 7K ride, again, past historic sites, and all ages are welcome for that, and there's no fee for that. There will be a dedication at the cemetery at 11:30 on Saturday. That will be a really nice dedication to Walter Blanchard, who is the founder of the year. He was really a pillar of the community in Downers Grove. In the he was one of the early settlers arriving in 1836, and died as a captain in the Civil War, leading Union troops, and took care of our Company K, and that included 16 Downers Grove boys who participated in that, and he took care of them until his death. And then between 12 and 3, the museum is going to have country in the park, and this year it has an expanded petting zoo, which the kids all love, and this time they can actually go inside and be with the animals, and so that should be a lot of fun. And then on Sunday, we have the Balladeers, who are a musical group that will be presenting music of the Civil War, and at 3:30 in the afternoon, Friends of the Edwards House will be doing landmarking your historic property and the historic home program. So there's a lot of educational opportunities out there this weekend, and we've ordered up some really great weather, so we hope you'll all be out. Thanks very much, and thank you so much for this proclamation.
Thank you very much for sharing all that with us.
And thank you for participating this Saturday. You will be doing the dedication of this at the graveside of Walter Blanchard, and we really are looking forward to that and appreciate your doing it.
Of course, as am I. It's my honor. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's really a event that has expanded in scope and become a real tradition in and of itself in the community, and I think a lot of people really appreciate carrying on the historic lessons of our past and preserving them for future generations. I think every time I'm at one, I learn something that I didn't know before. So it's all very beneficial. And even if you've been to things like the landmarking your historic property presentation before, it's always worth coming out because there's always new information and new people who are interested in perhaps landmarking their homes as part of historic preservation in our community. So it's something that just because you've come before, you should definitely think about coming again.
Absolutely. And in particular, in that instance, you will be meeting people who have chosen to go ahead and landmark their homes and interacting with those individuals. They all have a perspective on it, and you learn something new about their home as well as what you might do with your home. It's a great opportunity.
Right, that's a very good point because that wasn't always the case, but now it is.
That's right. There's more.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to it.
May I put some Founders Day flyers over here on the shelf just for the audience and anybody
Sure.
else?
Are you sure you brought enough for everybody here tonight?
I think I have enough with me this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Very good. Well, that brings us to item 4, which, as earlier advertised, pertains to public comment of a general nature. If there are any members of the audience who wish to make any general comments about things that are not on tonight's agenda or ask any questions of the council, I would invite you to please come down to the podium, introduce yourself to us, and we would be glad to hear from you. Please don't all rush the podium at once. Okay, well, hearing none, it's obviously far too nice outside for people to be here. That's clearly what's going on. We will move right to item 5, which is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Bertoni, I move the council approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to any of the items on tonight's consent agenda? Any questions or comments from members of the village council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Earl? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, the consent agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to item 6, which is our active agenda. We have many items on tonight's active agenda, so we'll get right to them. First, item 6A, do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance vacating a portion of a public alley immediately south of 2125 Ogden Avenue?
Mayor Tully, I move to adopt an ordinance vacating a portion of the public alley immediately south of 2125 Ogden Avenue as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from members of the audience? Questions or comments from members of the village council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Earl?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye, that matter passes unanimously and brings us to item 6B as in boy. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the Village of Downers Grove to designate the property at 2125 Ogden Avenue as planned unit development number 60? Are we really up to 60? Wow. Awesome. And authorize a commercial redevelopment for Power Mart.
Mayor Tully, I move to adopt an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the Village of Downers Grove, Illinois to designate the property at 2125 Ogden Avenue as planned unit development number 60 and authorize a commercial redevelopment for Power Mart as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from members of the audience? Questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye, that matter also passed unanimously and brings us to item 6C as in Charlie. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance rezoning certain property located at, wait for it, 2125 Ogden Avenue?
Mayor Tully, I move to adopt an ordinance rezoning certain property located at 2125 Ogden Avenue as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the Village Council? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye, that matter also passes unanimously and brings us to item 6D as in David. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance authorizing special uses for 2125 Ogden Avenue to permit a drive-through restaurant facility and a fueling station?
Mayor Tully, I move to adopt an ordinance authorizing special uses for 2125 Ogden Avenue to permit a drive-through restaurant facility and fueling station as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the Village Council? I'm just going to guess, but based on the trend here, congratulations are in order. We're looking forward to a wonderful project there that will greatly improve the intersection.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye. That matter passes unanimously. And again, congratulations, good luck, and thank you for reinvesting in our community. That brings us to item 6E as in Edward. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance proposing establishment of special service area number 10, Bridge Point Downers Grove subdivision at 3600 Lacey Road?
Mayor Tully, I move that this council adopt an ordinance proposing the establishment of special service area number 10 in the Village of Downers Grove and providing for public hearing of the procedures as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? Roll call, please.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye, that matter also passes unanimously. It brings us item 6F as in Frank. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance authorizing a franchise agreement with Northern Illinois Gas Company, otherwise known as NICOR, to construct, operate, and maintain a gas distributing system in and through the Village of Downers Grove, Illinois?
Mayor Tully, I move that this council adopt an ordinance authorizing a franchise agreement with Northern Illinois Gas Company as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye. Matter passes. Next is item 6G as in Gus. Do I have a motion, to adopt an ordinance amending ordinance number 5572, and the Village of Downers Grove budget for fiscal year 2017.
Mayor Tully, I move that this council approve an ordinance providing for an amendment to ordinance 5572 and the Village of Downers Grove budget for fiscal year 2017 as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye. That matter also passes unanimously and brings us to item 6H as in Henry. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance annexing 6140 Boundary Road to the Village of Downers Grove, Illinois?
Mayor Tully, I move that this council adopt an ordinance annexing 6140 Boundary Road to the Village of Downers Grove as presented.
Second.
Questions from the audience? Questions from the council? Roll call, please.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace.
Aye.
Commissioner Earl.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye. That matter passes unanimously and brings us to item 6I. last but not least, 6I, do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance rezoning certain property located at 6140 Boundary Road in the Village of Downers Grove?
Martelli, I move the council adopt an ordinance rezoning certain property located at 6140 Boundary Road as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Still no questions or comments from the audience. Questions or comments from the council?
Welcome to Downers Grove.
Welcome to Downers Grove. Well said. We promise to play nice.
I haven't voted yet.
Anticipatory. No questions. Roll call, please.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Earl?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. Now you're part of Downers Grove. Welcome.
It was part of the first one.
I think you have to record something.
Oh, that's right. Details, legally binding stuff. That brings us to the end of our active agenda and to item 7, which is our first reading or our workshop agenda. This is where items are presented for discussion and consideration purposes only. No final action will be taken at this point in time. We changed things up a little bit for the workshop or first reading. We will ask staff or petitioners to present the items for the council's consideration. Typically, we'll ask questions first, then kick it out to the audience for any further questions before coming back to the council. We have several items on tonight's first reading or workshop agenda. So with that, I will introduce our village manager, David Fieldman, to get things started. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Tully. Thank you. There are 4 items on tonight's first reading agenda, and for the last several months, we've been talking about our stormwater system. So tonight, we thought we would change it up a bit and have all 4 items focus on our drinking water system. The first 2 items will be presented by our Public Works Director, Nan Newland.
Good evening, Ms. Newland.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first 2 items are the recommendation for award of 2 contracts for water main replacement in the village. They're very similar contracts, just divided into 2 different projects. The first one is Contract A. This is a brief summary of the contract. We're recommending award to A-Lamp Concrete Contractors in the amount of $1,914,264.48. This includes the replacement of 5,318 linear feet of new 8-inch water main. It's going to replace 85 services for residents. This is going to occur on Fairmount Avenue from 55th Street to 59th Street, on Washington Street from 55th Street to Summit Street, and on Williams Street from 41st Street to 39th Street. We received 9 bids for this contract, and A-Lamp Concrete Contractors was the a low bidder, and they have successfully completed several similar projects for the village in recent years. The second contract is Contract B. As I said, it's very similar in scope. The low bidder on this contract was Austin Tyler Construction of Elwood, Illinois, in the amount of $1,682,500.26. They will be replacing 5,005 linear feet of water main, again 8-inch water main, 62 residential services. This will occur on 61st Street from Fairmount to Blodgett, on Grand Avenue from 55th to Hill, and again on Grand from 62nd to 61st, as well as on Williams from 55th to 2nd. We did receive 8 bids for this, and Austin Tyler was a low bidder. Again, Austin Tyler has completed many similar projects in the village, very well done, and staff recommends award to them. Both projects also include complete restoration, as well as resurfacing the streets that we will be working on in this construction season. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the council with respect to either item 7A or 7B?
Just thrilled that they're bundled together, which saves us a lot of time and money.
Thank you. It is that time of the year where we're seeing these kinds of contracts. I do have to ask, though, are the asphalt plants finally open?
Yes, there is asphalt going on. Not all of them are, but there is some work going on already.
Terrific. Any questions or comments from the audience on these 2 items? Any final questions or comments from members of the council?
Thank you, Mayor.
Next item, please.
The next
Thank
2
you.
items concern the finances of our water system, and therefore these items will be presented by our Finance Director, Judy Butney.
Good evening, Ms. Butney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first of these items is for an IEPA loan to pay for the projects that Nan just described. It's in the amount of $3,704,667.79. This is year 3 of a 5-year project that the village has pursued and participated in with the IEPA. This program gives us the opportunity to borrow at below-market rates. The 2018 rate is 1.76% compared to the current municipal bond rate of 2.8%.
Wow.
And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'd be happy to get that rate.
Yes, I know.
Questions or comments from the council? Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank
Good
you,
evening.
Mayor. I've been accused of overthinking things, but it seems to me on items A and B, we're awarding the contracts, and we aren't going for the money until we get to item C. I was wondering if it would be more proper for when we move this, I'm assuming this is going to go through like a knife through butter, that when we move it to the active agenda, that we move item C to item A, so that we have the approval for the loan before we award the contracts.
I believe.
Is that the way the loan process works?
Actually, the other way around,
Yeah.
right? We
They
need
they
to-
probably require you to authorize the contract before you borrow the money?
Yes.
Yes.
That's probably a condition of the loan, as I'm guessing.
Yeah, normally we do it the other way, as Commissioner Wallach said, but in this case, the loan agreement documents require us to have the contracts approved, and then we can sign them.
It's part of the loan covenants, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's all I
So
got.
what you said made perfect sense until the lawyers got a hold of it.
Well, I read through the contract, and I don't know, I didn't see that, but that's all right. We're
No
doing
worries.
it right.
No worries. Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions or comments on the loan? Any questions or comments on the loan from the audience? Other than everyone would like to get that rate? Yeah, me too. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is for water rates. We're proposing a change to the water rates to pass through an increase from the DuPage Water Commission. As you know, the village purchases water from the DuPage Water Commission, who in turn purchases it from the city of Chicago. And they are planning on increasing the village's rate by 1.23%, which translates into an increase to Downers Grove's customers of 0.81%. The fixed fee portion isn't going to change. Residents will see an increase of 4 cents per unit of water from $6.03 to $6.07, and a unit of water is equal to about 750 gallons. This increase will go into effect with the bills received after July 1st. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on this item.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank you. Just want to stress, this is strictly pass-through. We're not making anything on this, or our charges are strictly the result of a pass-through. Can't stress that enough. Thank you.
And thank you. And 750 gallons, that's equivalent to about one good shower in your household? Commissioner? Never mind. Any questions from the audience? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That ends our first reading tonight, Mayor.
All right, we appreciate all things water tonight. All right, very good. That brings us to the end of the first reading and workshop agenda, to item 8, which is the mayor's report. I do have a couple items. First, the DuPage County Stormwater Management Committee met this morning. It's a typical monthly meeting, and as my colleagues and those who follow council meetings closely know, that I serve as the District 3 municipal representative to that committee, and if there's something of importance to report back to everyone, I usually like to let you know. One thing I've been reporting on is the status of the floodplain mapping update, which seems to go on forever, and it continues to go on forever. The latest update is as follows. I know there are some residents that are very interested in this process. The 90-day appeal period for the revised preliminary floodplain maps will continue until the end of this month, May 2018. Comment resolutions are in progress. However, the resolution letters will not be distributed until the appeal period has ended, so you won't get the answer until that point in time, which will be presumably June or later. DuPage County and the Illinois State Water Survey, otherwise known as the ISWS, staff are tracking each comments resolution in a spreadsheet that is shared by both groups. Updates to the hydraulic model for Springbrook continue. Additional detail to the maps is being added where appropriate, and some additional survey information is being provided to the county's consultant. Additional in-house reviews have been going on for the Bronzeward Tributary and the St. Joseph Creek hydraulic models. The extent of the model updates is still being considered. County staff updated the Sawmill Creek model per comment received at the public comment period, and some other neat stuff was done that doesn't pertain to our immediate area. But last but not least, updated flood elevations, flows, and floodway widths for several cross sections located upstream and downstream of some of these areas have been provided to the ISWS. So long story short, that's the latest update. More to come. It's still ongoing and not yet finalized. So if you have submitted comments or you've been following the process, there'll be some further resolutions forthcoming, sounds like within the next month or so. And that's all I have to report, because we couldn't not talk about stormwater, right? And then the only other thing I have to mention is that there are, in fact, only 51 days left until Rotary Grow Fest. And that ends my report. That brings us to item 9, which is the manager's report. Hello again, Mr. Fieldman.
Hello again. We have 2 items to report out tonight under the manager's report. The first is the quarter number 1 financial report, which will be provided by Judy.
Hello again, Ms. Butney.
Hello there.
Do we have any money?
We do.
Awesome.
Moving on from the water now to the general fund. The revenues, first quarter, we had expected to have $8.8 million in revenues. Actual came in at $8.75 for a difference of $50,000. Most revenues are at budgeted levels. I am pleased to report that our new food and beverage tax is performing as we expected it to, which was very exciting news. And the item that has been under budget is the telecom revenues at $55,000. For the expenses, we would have expected $9.17 million as of first quarter. They're actually tracking under budget at $9.03 with a difference of $140,000, and that's primarily due to open positions that hadn't been filled in the first quarter. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the first quarter.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Sounds like we're tracking as expected. Any questions from the audience? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also wanted to share a bit of good news. The May edition of Public Management Magazine, which the mayor is displaying right now, it's a publication of the International City and County Managers Association, so it's a trade magazine for city manager folks. They have featured our flight analogy that we use to describe council and staff roles and responsibilities, from everything from long-range planning to day-to-day work. This is an innovation that we've been using here in Downers Grove for a couple of years, and it's worked out quite well. And in fact, it gets mentioned several times during budgets and long-range planning. It's now being featured in the national magazine, and I wanted to compliment Mr. Baker, our deputy manager. He had a conversation with the author, Mike Condiff, who's well known for highlighting government innovations throughout the country. So we're prominently featured in this month's magazine, and we've already received a few inquiries about how we use it, and can we get a copy, et cetera, from folks all across the country. So just wanted to share that bit of good news and congratulate Mike on sharing the good news with the folks at Public Management Magazine.
Terrific. Congratulations on that accolade. Once again, national recognition for our staff. Well deserved and well done. I have to share a brief little story. I think I actually recall the meeting at which this concept was birthed. We were talking about the anecdote of the 50,000 foot, 30,000 foot, and then I saw the light go off in Mr. Baker's eyes. We got to actually turn that into a graphic. And lo and behold, it showed up in further planning documents, and it's been a staple of them ever since. Well done. We now take it as something that we use all the time. And my only comment is the attribution at the bottom is great, but you need to get with your attorney and get the copyright symbol on there when people are asking to use it.
That's all tonight for the manager's report.
Any other comments from anyone else in the council? Other than the Title 17 issue? Great, congratulations. Thank you very much for sharing that. I think it's important that the community is aware of that as well.
Thanks, Mayor. That's it.
Very good. Well, that brings us to item 10, which is the village attorney's report. Ms. Petrarca, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Only 2 items to present this evening. The first is an ordinance authorizing a loan agreement with the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, and an ordinance amending the rates charged for water in the village of Downers Grove. Both items will be on next week's active agenda. Thank you, Mayor. That is all.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 11, which is reserved for council member reports. This is an opportunity for members of the village council to either share goings-on in the community with those who are in attendance or watching at home, or to report out on boards or commissions that they may serve on, not unlike what I just did with respect to the DuPage County Stormwater Management Committee. So I'll ask if any of my colleagues have anything to report tonight. We'll start with Commissioner Jose.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report.
Thank you very much, sir. Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, there's a ton of things. It's May 1st. We finally got some decent weather, and our downtown is going to be extremely active this May. I strongly suggest that everybody sign in to downtowndg.org, because if I started rattling off many of the events that are going on, we'd be here much longer. Cinco de Mayo is not a one-day event. It seems to be stretched out over several days, so I might have to rename it, I don't know. But anyway, that's Cinco de Mayo. There's a parade on Saturday for the youth baseball. We're looking forward to the car shows coming up and the outdoor the farmers market. So all that's going to start. So I strongly suggest you go online and print out a event calendar. And there's also you also find the deals on food and beverage in the area too. So check it out. Thanks.
Terrific. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wallace, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. No reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Burnett, good evening.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Earl, good
No
evening.
report, Mayor.
And Commissioner White, good evening.
No report.
And I have no further report. So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
Mayor Kelly, I move the council adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned. Good night. Happy May.